Hi, I am Snehashish Das and welcome you all to my online study classes. So today we will discuss about sexual reproduction in flowering plant. Today's class is specially prepared for the CBSE class 12 biology students. So coming to the class, we know about sexual reproduction, what is sexual reproduction and what are the advantages of sexual reproduction. First of all, what is reproduction? Reproduction means developing of the progeny from the parent generation. So it can be either asexual or sexual. Sexual reproduction where two haploid gametes are involved to form a diploid zygote. So what does haploid means? Haploid means that the chromosome number of the gamete is n, and when it will fuse together it will give 2n number of chromosomes, that is a diploid zygote. The reproduction in which two haploid gametes fuse to give a diploid zygote is known as sexual reproduction. Yes, here two types of gametes are involved, that is male gamete and another is female gamete. See this chart, male gamete plus female gamete, these two are haploid fused to give diploid zygote, and when the zygote develops it will develop into new organisms. Now coming to the flowers reproductive parts, we know we are discussing about the sexual reproduction in plants. So we have to know the sexual part of the flowering plant. See, flower. What is flower? Flower is nothing but the sexual reproductive part of a flower, of a plant. So we will discuss about this structure. See, there are four walls of a flower. So the first wall is called calyx, or the other name of the calyx is sepals. Sepals are the green leafy part of the flower. Next one is corolla, which is also known as petals. It is a colored part of the flower. So what is the need of the colored part of a flower? As we know, as we studied in the previous classes also, colored part of a flower attracts insects. So what is the purpose of attracting insects? The purpose of attracting insect is to pollinate the flowers. It helps in the pollination of the flower. Now coming to the next section, that is androecium. The function of the androecium is providing the male gamete. This is the male reproductive part of the flower. Now coming to the next section, that is gynoecium. Gynoecium is the female reproductive part of a flower. So now we will discuss all these four structures in details. So now we will learn about calyx and corolla. See, we know that calyx is the collection of sepals. So sepals are the green colored part of the flower. So the first point is, it is a collection of sepals, green colored small florets. These are the green colored small florets. But in some cases they are colored also. And this is also known as the first layer of the flower. And what is the function of this green colored floret? Function of the green colored floret or the calyx is to protect the flower when it is still in the bud stage. When the flower is in the bud stage, it protects the flower. So now coming to the corolla section. See, it is the collection of petals, that means the colored part of the flower. Why colored part? What is the function of the colored part? We have discussed earlier also. It is used to attract insects and birds for pollination. So what is pollination? We know that the transfer of the pollen grains from anther to stigma is known as pollination, which is very much essential for the sexual reproduction. We will discuss about this also. So this is the second layer of the flower. It is the collection of petals, that means colored part of the flower. Colored part of the flower, it helps to attract insects and birds to facilitate pollination. When insects come, when the insect get attracted towards the colored part, when they come to suck the nectar, the pollen grains stuck in their body. And when the same insect goes to another flower, the pollen grains which it carries, it gets stuck in the stigma part of the flower, which is the female part of the flower, and thus pollination happens. So we have discussed now about the calyx and corolla. Now we will move towards the next half of the walls. So now we will learn about the most important part of the flower which is responsible for sexual reproduction. That is the male part and the female part of the flower. The male part of the flower is known as androecium. This is the third layer of the flower or called as the male part of the flower. So it is a collection of stamens. What is stamen? Stamen is we can say the stamen is the collection of anther plus filament together called as stamen. Yes, anther plus filament. See here I have written anther plus filament. So what is anther? This bilobe structure. This is a two-dimensional picture. So we cannot show the second lobe. Second lobe is in the backward position. So anther plus filament is known as the stamen. So it is the male part of the flower. And what is the function of anther? Anther is used to produce pollen grains, which is very much essential for the pollination. Not pollination exactly, it contains the male germ cells of the flower. Now, anther bilobe structure help in pollen grain production, where the pollen grains are produced, and inside that pollen grains is the male germ cell, which is the main component for fertilizing the ovum. Now, what is filament? Filament is stalk-like structure that holds the anther. It is a stalk-like structure. See, it is a thin stalk-like structure that is holding this bilobe anther. So, function of anther is the production of pollen grain, and function of this filament is to hold the anther. So, coming to the next part, next wall, that is gynoecium. That is the female part of the flower. We can also say as it is a fourth layer of the flower. So what does it contain? See, it contains the stigma, style, and ovary. It is a collection of carpel. What is carpel? Stigma, style, and ovary together called as carpel. So it is a collection of carpel. It is a female part of the flower. And what is carpel? Carpel is stigma, style, and ovary together called as carpel. So the function of stigma is the landing platform for the pollen grains. The pollen grains come and land over here, land over the stigma. And what is the function of this style? Style is a stalk-like structure that holds this stigma. The function of style is to hold the stigma. The function of stigma is provides a platform to the pollen grains, to land the pollen grains. So I have written here is that stigma is a landing surface for the pollen grains. Style, it is stalk-like structure which holds the stigma. And now coming to the ovary. Ovary is the basal portion of the female part of the flower, which contains the main thing, that is the ovule. Yes, it contains the ovule, which is the female gamete of the flower. And when this pollen grains comes over here, it forms a tube, and the germ cells which is inside the pollen grains come towards the ovule and fuse together to fertilize it. So suppose the pollen grains land over here, it forms a tube and it goes to the ovule, fertilize and produce the 2n number of zygote, which is a diploid form. We have discussed in the previous section also that what is sexual reproduction? The reproduction in which the male gamete, that is haploid, and female haploid gamete fuse together to form a twin number of zygote, that is a diploid number of zygote. So we will discuss about this also in our next session. So today we have discussed about some basic structure of the flower. In our next class, we will discuss about each and every details of the sexual parts of the flower. So if you like my video, please subscribe to my channel, give like to every video and click on the bell icon to get the latest notifications. Thank you.